So YouTube family, there's a man by the name of Nick Wright who loves to cosplay as a real brother, who loves to look as this typical liberal, who continues to fool melanated people and make them believe if you say catchy catchphrases black folks love to hear, you're one of us. If you do a Hillary Clinton and you bring the hot sauce or the barbecue sauce, by God, jolly, you're one of us. And that's Nick Wright, who I've been told you guys about. I don't really hate Nick Wright because he's your typical dude. I'm about to show y'all receipts for proof as well, but he's your typical scrub who 1 minute he's conservative, the next minute he's liberal. We knew who he was during his ESPN days, but when he went to Fox Sports, he got an uplift when that drunk Chris Carter couldn't maintain a professionalism. So they gave him the show First Things First with Chris Bouchard and Jenna. And the media darling became Nick Wright because he pandered to a certain community, which was us, while really pandering subtle jabs at us for another community he could cater to, which is the Mayo community. Never forget that. So I'm going to show you guys proof and receipts. Before we get to that, let's start the damn show.
I've been broke so many times, I don't want to believe. Mama say it's my fault, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Niggas bless up on my...
Now, I don't watch First Things First. I think it's a knockoff, a fake version of First Take and Stephen A. Smith. It's a product of copycat, but whatever reasons, it's just not my cup of tea. Chris Bouchard, you kind of tap dance your way out of, you feel me, Rob Parker, because you were not man enough to let Rob know you don't rock with him, but you also throw jabs at Deion, but we're not going to get into you right now. Let's stick to your partner, Nick Wright. So Nick Wright is one of these guys who cosplay as this hater and also as a brother who loves us. Now, he's been out his way for this entire week after the draft, like 6 days in a row, going at the Sanders family, particularly Shedeur. Now, all of a sudden, he knew Shedeur was no good. He knew Shedeur was not a top-level quarterback. Although we kept the receipts, you was the biggest cheerleader of Colorado, and according to you, Shedeur was a top 3 quarterback. I mean, a football player in the draft. He was a top quarterback in the draft, according to you, Nick Wright. But lately, Nick Wright has been going out his way to diss Shedeur.
That's it.
I think this was a multi-front failure. I think it was a failure, if I'm being honest, by a lot of the NFL insiders in not having anywhere close to their finger on the pulse of what clearly the majority of the league thought of Shedeur.
That's it.
I think this was a
I got more receipts, but I'm going to tell you what's going on. You've been noticing all these announcers and pundits who all was riding Deion coattail and Shedeur, or the ones who are very quiet. They may have not liked the Sanders, but they never really dissed them publicly. But all of a sudden, Shedeur doesn't get drafted. He falls to the 5th. Now, all these experts are aficionados. Now, all of a sudden, we knew it. You see how these Mayos play this game? But this is Nick Wright over here glazing Shedeur a year and a half ago, saying that he's better than Bo Nix. So if Bo Nix gets to be a first rounder or drafted high like that, Shedeur is not. But this is Nick Wright riding the coattail of Bo Nix. Of Shedeur.
It has to be 45-42 or higher. The stops have to come in the form of turnovers. You have to have essentially no turnovers and maybe a missed field goal or 2 by Oregon. They're just going to have to keep up with them and make it a track meet. And Shedeur is going to have a legendary game. And by the way, he did that. Everything I just described is what happened against TCU. He threw for 500 yards. They were huge dogs. So I don't think it's impossible, because I do think offensively, I know Bo Nix is going to be an NFL player. He is not in Shedeur's class. They have the best quarterback on the field by a decent margin. So if you have the best quarterback, you got a damn good coach, you got a real shot, but you're going to have to score every time you touch the ball.
So you overhyped and say that Shedeur is better than the Bo Nix of the world, but in the same breath, you're saying he was not a good level quarterback anyways. But we all have seen you give Denver Bronco props. They made a good draft selection and getting Bo Nix. So how does your mindset work? Is it really that you evaluate evaluate players? Nah, you don't know jack ish about football. You're an ESPN reject who got picked up by Fox Sports. You used to have the brush cut. All of a sudden, you got the long hair. You got the diamond chain. Boy, you're cosplaying, bruh. I know you. I knew you since you was at ESPN. You're pandering to whatever pays you the most. And controversial conservatives make you a catch 22 to get paid more. That's just what it is. So this is you right here, this is Shedeur again after he didn't get drafted.
Yeah, teams didn't draft him because they didn't think he was first-round talent. And the quote we played and that's on the screen, I think is flatly wrong. We all know this shouldn't have happened. Yes, it should have. It should have happened because this wasn't. Now again, teams can't.
He's telling y'all it should happen because Shedeur is not a first-round talent. He's been like, what? Nick, let me ask you a question. What's your anger towards Shedeur? If you didn't like him like this, why didn't you been say it? You haven't been saying it like this. You ain't been standing on it. You've been cosplaying and you've been pandering. Now that he fell short, you can talk ish about Shedeur because they're not at the highlight of where they were currently, you feel me, while they were at Boulder. See, back then you couldn't really talk about them because he was winning. He was getting all type of media press in the right way. So you didn't want to show your hand. So you hide your hand like typical males. But I be telling my people, man, every time they do these routine acts, you fall in love with these characters. Now, this is you continuously hating on Shedeur and his father.
The same reason. But a lot of the same personality questions came up for Caleb Williams. And he was 1-1 on everyone's board the whole way. You know why? Because they said, if he's awesome, it doesn't matter. And I thought, you guys know all along, my stance has been, I don't question Shedeur the person. I do question Shedeur the player. And because I thought so many of the critiques of him were on a personal, not player level, I found myself rooting for him. And then I found myself yesterday during the draft coverage not rooting against him, but resentful.
We know you are resentful towards him, and it's only for one reason. It is the race issue. I don't know if you're hating melanated people or not, because I think you're with a black woman, you got a mixed child. It is what it is, but that doesn't negate the fact of who you really are. That doesn't negate the fact when it comes to sticking the code. You code switch when you want to, Nick. You say a little buffoon word here, and you think that's all it takes to placate towards black folks. That's the truth people are afraid to talk about. It's not the conservative MAGAs that black folks should worry about. They should worry about you libs. You liberals are everywhere with your hot sauce and your little routine dances. And these people fall in love with you, but not me, not I. I've always looked at you as this stepping, fetching wannabe that's really part of the Mayo community. You have to say certain segments. I just exposed Colin Cowherds. All of a sudden, he's standing on it and he's against Shedeur, saying it's Shedeur's fault. He never was a first rounder. But what if I show you a receipt of Colin Cowherd almost 2 years ago saying that he would draft Shedeur?
I would draft Shedeur Sanders for a lot of reasons. He had the worst O-line and the worst run game the last 2 years, Power 5 college football. And he completed an astounding 74% of his throws. That is insane.
Look at all that glazing. Look at all that glazing. We know you people. We know the routines of what you guys do. And I'm not being a professional victim. I'm here to remind my people with proof, who are you tweakers, bruh? Never forget these people, bruh. You can put clothes on a snake. You can put the nice bow tie on a snake. You can take the glasses and put it on a snake. But as the scripture says, a snake is still going to be a snake. And this is you, Mr. Snake, right? Remember, you were glazing Deion. Now you denigrating him being too much of a personality. But this was you trying to damn near get on your knees and unzip his pants. Do you spit or swallow, Nick?
Ever. Deion Sanders is making an argument for the greatest American sports story ever. Ever. Deion Sanders.
The greatest American sports story ever. So what changed, Nick? How do someone who glazed as much as you glazed the Sanders family and now you make a 360 switch out of nowhere? What happened? Well, I'll tell y'all what happened. These puppets get paid, and they get paid significantly well to do the most. I don't want to call it disgusting, but we're going to say disturbing. That's a better way to articulate. The most disturbing switching that you'll ever see is these media pundits, whether they're Mayo, whether they're knee grumps, whether there's something that comes with a crunch, you're going to get the total fakeness from these people despite who they are and what they're doing out here, bruh. Don't fall in love with it because you think they like you. He's the different one. Now you're doing what they do when they look at us. Oh, I like this knee grumps over here. He's different from the rest. Now you're doing the same thing to them. I like Nick Wright. He's different. No, I got news for you. Almost all the time, they're never different. Maybe about 5 to 10% of them, but majority of them always have an ulterior motive, especially the ones on TV. The ones on TV are by far the worst one. They placate towards your heart and play with your heartstrings because they know when you are a professional victim, all they got to say is certain things and you become in love with them. You fall with their routine acts and you think it's something different about them versus Billy Bob in the South. Man, these up north Mayos, you better run away from them. They're by far the worst kinds of all. You can put them on a sandwich, it'll still go bad. You better know who they are because Nick Wright, he can chuck a real good, but he'll always remember to stick the code. Now, my question for folks who look like me, will you remember to stick the code or do we got to be a Chicken George playing the fiddler to get you guys to dance? Because I see a lot of Chicken George in our inner circles and we're afraid to call them out, but not me. See, I could give this fire to everybody. You could be a knee grumps, you could be a Mayo. A step in fetching is still something that's gonna fetch. Come here, boy. Bend down, roll over, speak. That's what you are in a nutshell. And that's what Nick Wright is in his Mayo world. You feel me? Never get that twisted. Because one thing Mayo people will agree with me, Nick Wright is the worst kind of Mayo. He's the lib one, the liberals, the ones who come with the crocodile smiles, but they have ulterior motives the whole time. He hides his hand. See, I like my Mayos who don't like us front face and just in front of us, meaning no excuses, no fakeness, just come as you are. In fact, we'll embrace you over here. We like truth over here. You feel me? But it seems to be in this world, a lot of people like the fake act. So you guys could keep it. But over here, I'm going to keep doing the exposing the right way, man. We're DJ Bless One, the best one. Never forget, man, this is always going to be bigger than football and it's deeper than football. Love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed.
Heart been broke so many times, I don't know what to believe. Mama say it's my fault, I